Hi, my name is Emma Fawcett and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Newton Abbey, Belfast, Northern Ireland. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am going to be recreating a project that I made at a recent all-day craft event, and it's basically a little lantern. I've actually kind of changed the design of it a little bit. Now there's two different ways of doing this. Obviously I have used the Grassy Grove bundle. So you can see in this one I have kept the vellum to the top, okay, whereas in this one I have then cut it down so it's in line with the tree tops. So this was the one we made on the day, but actually as an extra for the one I'm going to demonstrate today, I'm actually going to just pop a circle disc in there, and you can see that I've made these little hinge parts, and that's just so that it'll hold that circle, and hopefully it'll help keep, you can see that there's got a bit squished and battered, but that circle will maybe help hold that and keep it a bit more stable in a circle. And then obviously these little lights, I just get them off Amazon. If anyone wants a link for them, just reach out and I can certainly share them with you. Then whenever it's all lit up, it's very cute. So it's also really important that you poke out all your little details out of the die cut on your card, because obviously you want to be able to see as much detail as you can. So we'll make a wee start on it, and I'll show you how to get the best out of your card for it. So I'll just grab all my little pieces here. So I use Crumb Cake, and the reason I use Crumb Cake was I thought it would be easier, because obviously you want there to be green, but you obviously want brown stalks. So I thought soft suede would be too dark to try and show up the old olive ink. So that's why I went with Crumb Cake, because obviously then you can go over the top and make them a bit more darker with either Crumb Cake or soft suede. Where soft suede, you just wouldn't see the green daubered onto it. So it was just your base and white. Well, what's the point in using white whenever you can actually use a brown as a base coat? So this is the Grassy Grove bundle. It is not a Christmas stamp set by any means, even though I have used it for one of my Christmas craft days. However, I love gifting people things at Christmas, and I do think a little lantern like such as this is very cute at Christmas. You could put a little gift tag on it with a Christmassy sentiment on it. I just think handmade gifts are much better than bought ones, and probably a lot bit easier to manufacture, especially if you're a crafter. So this is a half a sheet of Crumb Cake. So I literally cut it at 4 1/8 or 10.5 centimeters down the middle, long ways. I then laid my die down like this. Now, if you're a bit nervous about die cutting things all at once, you can do this in different steps. So you could lay that on your Crumb Cake now, wind it through, and then you're left with this. However, because I was making 22 kits of these, I actually laid it down at the same time and wound it through like that. Then I gave myself about an inch, 3/4 of an inch, lay it down, moved that along. So you can see here there's a wee bit of roughness here, but you can just trim that off with scissors, lay it down and wind it through again. So hopefully there's no point in me doing it on camera. You know how to work a big shot, and you just don't need to see me winding things through. So this is the stage where you would probably need to do your daubering. You want to be sticking your vellum down and then daubering and getting it all over it. So you really want to be doing your daubering now. I'm just grabbing a scrap piece of paper here. And I'm using Old Olive, and yes, it's the old style ink pad, because I'm doing another event tomorrow and I've got everything packed up, so I'm just going to use this one for now. Now, you could use your blending brush. It would be much quicker, but you're going to get more texture with your dauber. And you need to go down around the sides, along the bottom, to get all those nice grassy bits along the bottom. Just obviously mind your trunks of your trees. But yeah, the brush would be so much quicker to do this, but I just want the texture a bit textured. Especially whenever the lantern's not turned on, you want it just to look like something when it's not lit up. Like you can see all these wee branches in here. Doesn't obviously matter if you get some of the green on it, but you want to try and keep some of the brown shining through. Okay, and just have a wee look at it and see if you want to add a bit more texture, because obviously if you kind of like dab and twist, you're getting texture as well. You're getting like those kind of like wee circular motions as well, so it'll maybe give a bit more texture to it. Now I am going to bring out my little silicone mat, and I am going to put some of my multi-purpose glue on it. Got a little piece of one of the Stampin' Up sponges. Actually might need more glue on that. So kind of start at one end. So this is a great wee technique if you're wanting glue on detail things, but you don't want it too thick. So start at one end. You can just see the glue with the sponge, it doesn't allow too much glue to go onto it. It means it doesn't get too saturated. These little silicone mats are absolutely brilliant. I love them. And like, you can just wipe them off. You can use them with hot glue as well. Okay. So I just need a bit more glue on there. And then obviously you can see here, I'm going to match this up here, and it means then I'm not going to get glue on the front part. Okay. Again, just go over the top. And it means then that card isn't completely saturated with glue, and the vellum will just stick over it really easily. Remember to do along the bottom as well. Now, alternatively, you can just go on along and do dots here and there, but see if you look at the inside of that, you can just see all the lines of glue on it. So that can go to the side to get washed. And then this can get lined up here. And this then can get lined up. So you're going to the edge, and you're going to the very bottom. But again, if it's overhanging, don't worry, you can trim it off. Doesn't really matter. Okay. Whenever I flip this over, it should be nice and clean. No lines. Which it is, which is great. So that's a little tip if you're doing large areas. Grab a sponge, your wee silicone glue mat, and your Tombow. Okay. Now, I'm going to cut this out, and you could just go along with your scissors, which is what I did with this one, but I'm going to wind it through the big shot here just so it's a bit tidier. So I've wound that through again, and it's just giving me that lice. Now you might just get a wee bit, you've taken off a bit more than you should have, but it's absolutely fine. So that is that completely stuck, and obviously passing it through the big shot as well is going to help that to adhere to it and really bond to the vellum. So the next thing I'm going to do is you lift a ruler. Your bone folder might be long enough, and what you're going to do is you are going to curl it. It's just because you want to try and soften up and break some of the fibre so that it has a natural curl. So just play it. You'll know yourself whenever it's enough. Okay, now you can see this side here is quite long, so you're going to need to trim some of that off, because whenever you fold that over, you want that tree, that little gap in the tree, not to be like encroached into with that piece of card. So again, just take a little bit off at a time until you know that it's the right amount. Okay. So to begin with, I'm going to take off 1/2 inch. Just so I see, once I wrap that, is that going to come over? Nope, 1/2 inch is fine. Okay. Also, that is where the tail end of the die was, so I'm just going to tidy up that edge. Like that. Yeah. So now that's going to go like that. Okay. Obviously, there's going to be a join. There's going to be a join on anything that you're going to make into a circle like this. So you can use tear tape, or you can use your wet glue. It is entirely up to you what you decide to use here. I'm just going to use wet glue because that's what I've got in my hand. And you want to bring that over like that. But as I say, you don't want to go over, because you want that to look like it's continuous. So So just hold that until it's dry. Make sure you're straight here at the bottom. Okay. And then, as I say, this is the difference of this one here. I've made these two little like hinged pieces. So they're 2 inches and then scored at 1 inch. These were just scraps, so I actually don't know the width measurement. I think it's maybe 3/4 of an inch. Yep, 3/4 of an inch. And again, you just don't want it to be too wide there, because you don't want to like go over. You want it to be like nested in, because that's where you're going to hide them in this panel here. So let's just set that down and bring it to the crease. So the crease is coming flush to the bottom here. Okay, so I'll lift that up so you can see where I've stuck it in. There, like that. And you're going to turn it and you're going to do the same at the other side. Say this is just a little extra. You do not need to do this, but it might just help keep the shape of your little lantern, especially if it's going to get moved about. Okay, so just going to let that sit. So you can see the way that's kind of pulling into like an oval shape. Well, hopefully whenever we put this die cut circle down, it's going to, if I can lift it, it'll force it back out into circle. Now, this is not a Stampin' Up circle die. It's an old one that I have from years ago. I'll measure the circle itself is 3 1/4. It could have potentially been better going maybe to 4 inches. Because this is actually quite hard to measure because it's quite squidgy. You're moving it about quite a lot. So I'm going to put, so it could probably take 4 inches. Just going to put glue in the inside there, and then drop that down into it, and hopefully the circle that'll stick now to my card. So you can see already that's pushed that out into a circle shape. So that is a win, I think, for that little design there. Obviously it's not your pure circle, but it will definitely stabilize the circle shape that you're trying to achieve. Right, so the last thing really with your wee lantern is you are going to decorate it. And again, with these dies, you're getting this lovely little deer family. You've got what looks like a mummy and a daddy and a baby. So that is the last thing you're going to do. I have used the brushed metallic foil sheets for this, and this one here's the gold. I'm going to use glued up because I want a little bit of a lift so that they're not completely flat, but not too much, and I don't want to be able to see them very much on the inside of the whenever you're looking down into the lantern. So I'm just sticking them again. I'm just going to give them a bit of a bend because it's foil and we don't want it to be we don't want them to be straight. You can tuck their legs down in if you haven't gone too mad with your glue. I have. So I'm not going to be able to get it tucked in behind the grass. But kind of press them in. And we'll do the mummy and the baby. It's up to you how you do them. So whenever you turn it, it's like that. Does he need another glue dot? You'll be if you're trying to do this and you're going to make it yourself, you will probably come up with different ways of doing this, different ways of constructing it. The reason why I can't do hinge pieces here is obviously the bit that would be glued up in the inside would be up encroaching into your lantern space. So realistically, you've only got these 2 side panels to play with. Put my lights in. These are the warm ones. I'm not a big fan of like the cold white lights. I prefer the warm ones. So hopefully I'll give it a wee turn. You can see them. It's very cute. As I say, I love making handmade crafts for people for Christmas, and so far every year they've been very gratefully received. So again, as usual, I will put a wee list of everything that I've used in the description. Hopefully you'll enjoy making your own and maybe even come up with different designs. That Grassy Grove, I just love it. Do you know, not so much the stamp set, but even just the dies. Like, I've had so much use out of them so far. But yeah, I do really like it, and even the sentiments are lovely, and I like the type font and all everything on them. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed that and you'll have a go at making your own. All that there is left for me to say is thanks so much for joining me today. Take care. Bye bye.